Joining us now is Kunal Bahl, CEO of Snapdeal. Kunal, thank you so much for your time. Let me ask you your thoughts on or as you look back to what's been inked on the Prime Minister's state visit to the USA. How would you look at it?
Thanks, Anand, for having me here. Look, this was obviously a very historic trip, not necessarily only for the Prime Minister, but for our entire nation. We all saw the positive response the Prime Minister received at the multiple occasions that he spoke either to the US Congress or in his interactions with the various tech CEOs, amongst many other events that he was a part of. It's a representation of the fact that the world recognizes that India's time has come. And India is one of the, if not the only big, bright, shining spot in the macro economic landscape in the world right now. So it was obviously a very, very positive event, positive trip, and a string of very positive events. Particularly interesting, Anand, were two or three areas where, at least as I observed it from a long distance, I felt it means a lot, and it means a lot of positive things for our country. Particularly, firstly, in the enhanced investment opportunities that this trip will likely do, where there is a tremendous amount of interest for global capital to come into India, and particularly in the sphere of startups, technology forward businesses, given the world recognizes that India has one of the richest talent pools for engineering. And as a result, a lot of the future innovation engines will likely get created in India, where we are making in India, but for the world. And whether it's venture capitalists or pension funds and so on, or private equity funds, they are clearly lining up to invest in India right now. The other area, Anand, where I feel that there is a lot of interest in the Indian landscape is in just technology and knowledge exchange. We saw that from the tech handshake, the big meeting with a lot of global leaders from the technology world, both from the US side and the India side, in the presence of President Biden and our Honorable Prime Minister, where a lot of important aspects were discussed, both around the critical technology as well as technology that enhances lives of people in our country and around the world. And it was great to see that some of the brightest and the biggest leaders in the technology world were there, sharing their thoughts and ideas with the leaders of the two countries.
And AI, yeah, sure. Please complete. No, yeah. I want. Okay, you complete it, then I'll take the story forward as far as tech is concerned.
Yeah, I feel particularly there was a lot of discussion around the role of AI and other critical technologies going forward. I saw Sam Altman was part of the tech handshake meeting. It is an indicator of the world we live in, and the fact that something like OpenAI and ChatGPT, which came into prominence literally months ago, is already part of the conversation among such two tall global leaders at such an important summit, because they both recognize now that the two countries are going to play a big role in AI and similar technologies, which will be quite groundbreaking for the respective countries and also for the entire world.
I was coming to the tech part, and you hinted upon AI. See, one of the aspects is that the big investments have been pushed towards AI, languages, spreading and trying to tap all of the market possibilities in India. Google has committed big investments here. But all of this comes around a time when India is also going through a funding winter. Now, how would you marry the two? Do you think the sentiment itself will change, or do you see a shift away from the conventional startup mechanism towards a more hardware and also somewhere AI-driven, knowledge systems going forward, or businesses going forward?
Look, Anand, from AD 1 to AD 1700, India was a top 2 GDP in the world. After 350 years, we are going to be a top 3 GDP country again. In the scheme of these timelines, a few months of a funding crunch is really not going to stop the Indian juggernaut from moving forward. So I'm not particularly bothered about the, this month or next month or even next year with respect to the amount of capital coming into this sector. One thing is very clear, that we are on an undeniable and an irreversible path of immense technological innovation, particularly as it pertains to the impact that AI is going to have, not only in the industries that we operate in, but in the day-to-day lives of 7 to 8 billion people in the world. There is absolutely undeniable evidence of that, and we are already seeing that. We probably don't observe it as much, but AI has been playing a role in our lives. It's just that with more compute horsepower, we are going to see its role increase on a day-to-day basis. And look, funding and those type of things happen in phases, and each phase of when funding is strong, funds the next generation of companies, and when things are weak on the funding front, that's when founders keep their head down and build. So that's really what's going on right now.
There was a keen observer of the India startup ecosystem and the unicorns and the growth that India has been powering in these services aspect of it, or the soft aspect of tech is. He said that a lot of people seem to be going for valuation, not value creation or value in terms of what they can do representing India to the world, because that's also another aspect. You think things would change after this visit? Is there going to be a sentiment change among Indian entrepreneurs also onto their outlook going forward on the India story?
Look, Anand, at some level, the future doesn't care about the past. The future has so much potential when it comes to Indian companies, that I know there has been a lot of talk about valuations going up and down and yo-yoing in public and private markets. The future is not going to care about that. The future is going to care about, are we innovating? Are we building the right companies? Are we solving the needs of consumers and businesses for whom we have set out to build these businesses? What I'm really excited about is the fact that we have a talent pool which is so deep and so large and so sophisticated in India and raring to go, to make in India for the world. This is probably the first phase of what we're going to see as Indian companies and Indian founders and the team members of these Indian startups build software products at a scale that has never been seen before, but not only for India, but for the entire world. We have seen that happen once with software services, where India has created this $200 billion juggernaut in the IT services space. We're going to see a similar phase in the next 10 to 20 years of Indian software products now being extremely omnipresent around the world, and AI-related products. And one would argue, and many would say, that there would be no software products without an element of AI going forward. It's just the question is how much, not whether they are AI enabled or not. And so India is going to play an immense role, an omnipresent role when it comes to software products going forward, being used by small and large organizations around the world, including consumers.
One of the aspects is, and one of the final two questions to you, one of the promises the Prime Minister has made when he sold the India story is not just ease of doing business, but also trusting Indian partners or partnerships. Do you believe that ecosystem is robust enough that investors can come in and ensure that there will be a long-term return for it, and they're not going to go bust? It's not going to be a Fuljadi effect, if I may say that.
It's a good question, Anand, and I see where you're coming from, because historically India has always been seen as a country which has a lot of potential, but never really lived up to its potential historically. We did well, but not as well as everyone thought we would do, for a variety of reasons which are historical in nature. This time seems different. And I think it feels different for a variety of reasons. One, we are a nation which is more connected than any other country. We are a nation which has more digital transactions than any other country. We are a nation which has stable political leadership, which we have not really had for the longest time. And we have a nation of incredibly smart, raring to go, ambitious, young, technology skilled founders and enthusiasts who are part of this technology revolution that our country is going towards, it seems like a lot of elements that have not existed historically are now there. And these are essential and critical ingredients that will lead to a successful outcome going forward. So as they say, this is going to be India's decade.
What's in it for you? Have you got a few ideas? Snapdeal, yourself? Are you inspired to a particular line or a direction?
Anand, I've been building businesses now in the technology space for 15 plus years. I started when India has had less than 10 million internet users, and we used to debate whether India has 7 or 6 or 5 or 10 million internet users. Now we are at 1 billion internet users. And having seen the entire arc of India's tech startup ecosystem go through, I'm nothing but invigorated, and I partake in it by not only building businesses like Snapdeal, Unicommerce, and others, but also investing in many. And I've had the good fortune of investing in over 250 startups, likes of Ola, Urban Company, Mama Earth, Off Business, and others, who are at the bleeding edge of their respective industries, and gives me vicariously the joy of being part of other entrepreneurial journeys, while obviously I have my own too.
So here's to filling more pockets and your pockets too. So thank you so much.
Right now, our goal collectively should only be filling India's pockets.
So you fill your pockets, you fill more pockets, and collectively we fill India's pockets. That's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Lovely speaking with you, Kunal. Thank you so much for your time. All the very best.
Likewise. Thank you, Anand.